Good morning, everyone. Welcome to New Thought Center. We are graced with the presence of Kumu Keala Ching this morning. And he's going to get us started with a song, which is also a prayer, and a very special prayer. You're on, Kumu.
Aloha mai kako. A beautiful song written by our Queen Lili Okalani. Oku aloha no. Ai kalani. Aokoia i'o. Emole lehoi. Ho'ulomiana. Oi konani ko Ainana ino na hewa na kanaka aka ehu wikala ama ema eno no laila e kahaku malalo ko koma luia amaulua kuno Aloha. So the words of our Queen Lili'u Kalani, as the first verse shared that she was placed in prison and that she sits there with such forgiveness, being in this place and looking upon the Spirit for guidance and beauty put upon her. In the second verse, she shares that don't look upon the people that have done wrong, but allow me to forgive them. Ehui kala. For they don't understand. And then in the last verse it says, here we are, your people. Below your wings, we ask for your continuous blessings and honor throughout. It is something that I wanted to share because of what we've been experiencing for the past 6 months, being what we needed to sort of take care of, being locked up in our own homes, being able to honor the Spirit. This is why it's really exciting that we are able to offer this through a new thought, that every time that we are here to give or reach out to to you and want to say thank you for joining us, Pasha and I, for this wonderful, wonderful time together as we receive the beautiful sun. So mahalo nui.
So on behalf of New Thought Center of Hawaii, I want to say a big welcome to all of you that are joining us for this virtual gathering. And my name is Pasha McGregor. I'm the president of the Board of Trustees for New Thought Center. If you aren't already familiar with us, I'll give you a little background. We see ourselves as a multi-faith spiritual community, not just interfaith, because there's more than two. And our mission is to provide a sanctuary of aloha for the nourishment, development, and evolution of each individual's unique spiritual path. Our group evolved from the Kona Community Church of Religious Science, which was first established in 1971. And we have held Sunday services continuously from that time for a long time in Keaho, since 1999 in Keala, and for the last about 6 weeks in cyberspace. So our connection to the wider world is primarily through the International New Thought Alliance, which is an umbrella organization that brings together groups and individuals who share certain common beliefs and attitudes. Many religious science and unity churches belong to this umbrella organization. And here's where the New Thought came from. It was, the phrase was first used that way by a Judge Thomas Troward, and he said, "A new thought embodied in consciousness produces a new condition." If you'd like to know more, you can visit our website, www.newthoughtcenterhawaii.com. And because we want to honor our roots and the wonderful people who established the church in 1971 that evolved to be what it is today, we generally include in our service a reading from the publication Science of Mind magazine. It was established by Ernest Holmes, and it's the publication of the modern day incarnation of that organization, which most of those churches now call themselves Centers for Spiritual Living. Anyway, here's the one for November 1st. It's called Honoring That Which Is Within. The quotation which introduces it is from Ernest Holmes. It says, "We are living in an intelligent universe which responds to our mental states. To the extent that we learn to control these mental states, we shall automatically control our environment." And the little message of inspiration is from an author and teacher named Jafan Seeley. Here's what he has to say. "Each day we can find great power by venturing into our inner world and acknowledging our internal state before venturing out into the world. As we descend down the eternal steps toward the seat of our soul, we begin to see elaborate gardens, structures, and landscapes created by our memories, beliefs, perspectives, and outlooks. With an honest introspection, we can see that everything in our external life is a reflection of a seed that has taken root within us. With this understanding comes great responsibility, for it is you and I who have the ability to shift the world we live in by shifting our inner worlds. We can remove the structures of guilt, the valleys of failure, the slow winding rivers of despair by remembering who and what we are. We are part of the infinite universe, whole and complete. As we begin the process of empowering our inner world, everything begins to change. However, this is something that only you can do for you. No one can jump within your inner world and do this work for you. Today, wherever you may be, take a journey inward. Judge not what you see, but sit in an inspired state, realizing what you've created. If you happen to see something that doesn't align with the best of you, shift that inner vision by shifting your mental and spiritual state. You have the ability to create whatever you'd like within. Continue to revisit this inner sanctuary until it is permanent in nature, as within, so without. Here's the affirmation for today. It's not too long. I'll just say it once, and those of you watching, if you're inspired to, you can repeat it to yourself. I am filled with inspiration and act in inspiring ways. All right, moving on. Kumu Keala is both the speaker and the musician today. So he can decide when he wishes to share the music. But right now we're both kind of excited about today's topic. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and introduce him so that we can get into the heart of the program. The topic is Kuleana. So some of you saw this in the New Thought newsletter or on the website, but in case somebody didn't, I'll share because Kumu's kind of humble. He's not going to want to trumpet his own virtues, but he's really quite a special person. I find him that way. He is a Hawaiian cultural educator, composer, songwriter, and spiritual advisor to many Hawaiian organizations. Kumu lives and breathes aloha into his Hawaiian heritage with his strong presence and great heart. Growing up on the island of Oahu, Keala Ching began his hula training as a dancer with the men of Waimapuna under the direction of the late Daryl Ihilau Akea Lupenui. In 1999, he became a practitioner of Ho'oponopono with Kupuna Malia Craver, a cultural specialist at the Queen Liliuokalani Children's Center. He's a graduate of University of Hawaii Manoa with a degree in childhood education, and he holds a master's degree in education from Chaminade University. Under the tutelage of Loea Frank Kavaikapuokalani Hewitt, Keala has spent many years learning and building his knowledge. He graduated in the Uniki rites to become a kumu hula. He is fluent in Hawaiian language, which he uses as the foundation for teaching all of his students. He serves as kumu for several halau, including one in Japan and one in Switzerland. Kumu has taught keiki and served in other capacities for several schools in the Kona area. Currently, he teaches at Konawaina Middle School, both language and music, ukulele. So, with that, I'm going to present him with an imaginary lei. It's really beautiful, Kumu. Did you
E
receive it?
ua ua ka ua ua iho mai ka vai ola ola e ka vai lono. O lono ka leo leo na ku puna puna vai a kane e. Kane a ka vai kana loa ke kai kai ola kino vai ola kino no ke mau ke ola ma e ma e ke kino kino iho no iho la ka pono ole ho I mai kau mai ke ola a kuma e. Ho I ola e ka vai lono ho lono ka leo na ku puna puna vai a kan he vai ua ka ua I ho mai ka vai ola e. E o ka vai ola vai I vina vai I vi o ke ala ku kapu malu ya ke ala e. Eola. Aloha mai. Thank you very much, Pasha. I'm so happy to be here. Such a beautiful lay. The lay of just a gift of sharing, a gift of expression. It goes such a long way. Thank you very much for all those beautiful and kind words. I'm excited. I'm excited to be here with all of you at New Thought Center, going viral. How beautiful. Virtual connection is so important. So I just say thank you very much, and let's get ready and on the road.
All right. So we're trying something new today. Um, Kumu has recently participated in a panel discussion, and he sort of enjoyed it, the format. I expect it was by Zoom. Well, there isn't actually a panel, but we are going to try sort of a interview format. Um, so I have a few questions, Kumu, on the subject of Kuleana. The first time I heard the word, it was in relation to real estate. The realtor showing us the property which became our home and said it was a nice kuleana. So I would like to know, what is the original meaning of the word?
Mahalo nui, Pasha. I just wanted to share with you and everyone in our virtual community about, I would say, close to about 15 years ago, I came up with this thought of kuleana, and it sort of evolved around how, like you shared, the kuleana lands, and really the kuleana lands are lands that have responsibility to the families. And this is where the document that I'm sharing with you, speaking about kuleana, it helps not only myself, but to really understand a deeper sense of what kuleana is. Today, we speak about kuleana as being responsibility, but I knew that there was so much deeper. And so with that, I took the word kuleana and I came up with the K. And for the K for me is kupuna, or the elders, and how the elders are really the source of knowledge. And then uhane for the U, the uhane is spirituality. And how are we connected spiritually? Then lehu lehu for the L, and lehu lehu is considered people or abundance of people or just ashes themselves. And then ea, we know this beautiful olelo no ea, which is a wise word, poetic saying that was coined by King Kamehameha III, Kau I Keau Oli, and he said, "Ua mau ke ea o ka aina I ka pono." So ea is, we do what is right to the land, and we continue it. And then on the back half of this word, kuleana, we have the A, which is akua, and which is the spirit. Akua is like the first foundation. And then na'awao. Na'awao is enlightenment. And we as people, we have a choice. And our choice is either na'awao, enlightenment, or na'aupo. This is ignorance. And so this is how we sort of balance this whole thought. And then the last is the most important is the aina, the land. How are we connected and how are we related? So in that terminology that Pasha shared earlier, that kuleana to them was explained to by the realtor as kuleana land. Well, the kuleana land helps the people themselves relate to that kuleana. That kuleana land belonged to that family that lived in that Ahupua'a. And then Ahupua'a is a land district that goes from the mountain all the way to the ocean. And normally the kuleana is that span from the mountain all the way to the ocean. And those are kuleana land. However, during the 1848, they made the statement of the Great Mahele, the lands were all divided. And when the lands were divided, certain parts of the land was indicated as Kuleana. Kuleana land was the land that was really tied close to the people of that area. And so when we look at the term Kuleana, as I shared with you, how are we connected with the elders? The elders are the ones that carry the knowledge of the land. And how are we connected spiritually? How did our kupuna connect spiritually? How did they relate what was spiritually connected to the land is also connected to them as people? So when we look at these pieces very similar to the kuleana that I shared with you, this is really, really important. So other than the basic ike, the basic knowledge of kuleana, we would go into the dictionary, the Hawaiian language dictionary, and we would find the word responsibility. However, as Hawaiian people, we know that there is a deeper, deeper connection to this simple word of responsibility. And that is, how are we connected to people? How are we connected with the spirit? How are we connected with the land? And so it has been a passion of mine as I continue to teach and help to inspire what this word, this simple word of kuleana, could be related to all of us as people.
Oh, thank you. That's a very expansive definition. So I was going to ask, you already began to answer it, but does kuleana mean something special and different for Kanaka Maoli, for people that actually are of Hawaiian ancestry as opposed to people that aren't?
I think when we take a look at that, you know, as Kanaka Maoli, we've we've been, the word is colonized, and that different lives of our people, they sort of strayed away from many many things, and it was not at their own fault. It was what was going on. If we followed the history, uh, King Kauikeaoli, uh, King Kamehameha III, he established public school education here in Hawaii back in about the 1840s. And so education was really surrounding the Hawaiian language. And in the Hawaiian language, there was culture, there was spirituality, there was relationship that was really built upon this whole foundation. And then 3 years after the overthrow of Queen Liliuokalani in 1893, 3 years after the overthrow in 1896, the ban of the Hawaiian language. So there was no more Hawaiian language. And so, because of that, there was a shift in the community of really understanding what it is to connect with the language. How is the language so important to culture? And so, with that expansion, there are a lot of families that carried that kuleana of holding on to the language, holding on to the spirituality, and connecting with the land. And then you had those families that sort of moved away from it because at that time it was it was sort of expressed that being Hawaiian wasn't important, but being in this Western world of what was happening was the most important because that was what was happening at the time. We needed to assimilate um, and be able to work with the community. And so by that time, the shift of the word and the shift of the deepest feeling sort of shifted where kuleana now became a responsibility. And so at that time, that part of history, the responsibility became how do I take care of my family? How do I work, get the money, and pay? Versus working the land, like how the original thought of working the land, connecting with the land, connecting with the spirit, and by connecting with the land, you provide. You would provide the sustenance that would feed the family. So, because of this, there's a huge shift to what is happening. And because in the I think it's about 35 years now, there has been a shift in the Hawaiian language. So now that the Hawaiian language has now become um, a very integral part of culture today, there is now that shifting that is occurring to really understand what kuleana is and how is kuleana related to my connection to the land, my connection to people, my connection to spirit, and how do we balance this whole piece. And so that seems to be what has gone through a historical um, challenge with the Hawaiian language, which truly affected the culture of the Hawaiian people.
It sounds like kind of a healing process uh, that's related to the restoration of the language. But I know that you also do a lot of work with um, people who weren't born in Hawaiian bodies, not only the people that live here now, but your halau in Japan and Switzerland. And um, so does Kuleana, is it relevant for them?
You know, I was about to share that. I like how the aforementioned, the reading that was done, how when you're in the area, when you're in Hawaii, you need to look within yourself to see how you begin to shift what is around you. Then look out, as the reading shared, and how we begin to understand what is surrounding us and how important that if we make changes, changes will then really not only affect but interact with what we are going through today. And so, with the knowledge of our educators at the time in 1983, observing the death of our kupuna, and at the same time was the death of the language. And so they made an effort to look within and to make these changes. And these changes involved going out to New Zealand, Aotearoa, and seeing a model that they used, which is called kohangareo. And so that kohangareo now becomes punanaleo in Hawaii. And I think your question about going out, sharing with with my students in Japan, sharing with my students in Europe. It's really to align a cultural thought, which is Hawaiian, and then the thought that they are from, their own traditions. And not to say that you need to be this, but to see that how can I align the possibilities of what Kuleana is. And so this is what I feel when I'm here teaching all my students. I'm not trying to turn them into Hawaiian. I'm not trying to get them to speak Hawaiian. What I am trying to do is help them to understand. Because I like this very beautiful saying, when you're in Italy, you do what the Italians do. And that's really, really important. So when you're in Hawaii, you certainly wanna understand what the Hawaiians did. What did they connect with? And relate. And so we begin to look inside and see how can I become a part of this entire big puzzle. And then once I look within, as the reading shared, once I look within, then I make these conscious effort to make what is in external, and then feel that embrace of where we're living, and what is surrounding us, and how we can really get to understand what kuleana is really all about, versus just having that responsibility. Kuleana has a very, very deeper sense to the piece.
Thank you. Yeah, that's helpful to coming clear. And I was going to ask you about, well, on the one hand, we're talking real estate. On the other hand, we're talking like this deep philosophical, uh, values-based concept. Um, but I think you addressed that very well. And the little chart, um, I'm glad that will be on the recording because I want to study it more myself. Um, but I'm also wondering, so how does it relate to working in community with other people? I get that it's a personal value, but when you have a group of people coming together, and how does that work?
I think when we come together as a group, we have a consorted, combined main thought of why we're getting together as a group. And most most times when we're getting to a group, we find the simple terminology of respect. Well, one of the respect is respecting the elders. Now, what can be a challenge is that if you've never been brought up with elders of significant connection to culture, then it can be a little bit challenging. And I'm not saying that some of our elders are not knowledgeable. They're respected. But when you have an elder that is connected with the wise words of the old people and find the deeper sense of the relationship to the words, we tend to really begin to focus as a group. One, why are we gathering? Two, are we able to assimilate with each other, be able to be civil with each other? How are we honoring the ones that are going to take the lead, and how are we honoring the ones that are just getting involved? We want to be able to relate to each other, to then develop a deeper sense of kuleana. Once we find a deeper sense of what this kuleana is, we're not just looking at responsibility. We're looking at within our group, how is everyone fitting into this piece of spirituality? How are we connected? Are we of one mind, one sound, one body? How are we taking care of the land? Are we able to make efforts, much like how you're saying, here we're talking about real estate on one side, and here we're talking about philosophical thoughts. I was actually approached in this, and I was approached by saying, Kumu, how do you blend um, finances with culture? And I said, well, we have to change our thought of mind, because finance, we're thinking about the dollar. Whereas culturally, finance is how can I provide? Yeah. So financially, we can go and um, toy the land, plant our forests, our garden, and be able to now produce and give. And when we give, then things will come back. And so that's another way of looking at finances. So when we're looking at real estate, well, how can that real estate be able to support that culture? Like, is the land, the kuleana land, are we able to plant kalo? Are we able to plant ulu? Well, at the same time that individual has their home, is that food possible to be shared in the community? So it's really about changing our mindset to understand that there's a different idea of that financial dollar. It's not, it doesn't have to carry that kind of weight, where it could carry a more connective weight, and how I would be able to share with you. I could sing a song, we could, share a dinner. It has a huge part of what I shared with this teacher about decolonizing the mind. If we are able to decolonize the mind, then we are able to come together within a group and really focus on what are the goals. Yeah.
Okay, excuse there. Okay. It sounds like in a healthy group situation, you have people coming together and sharing whatever is their special gift to help the group as a whole to realize the Kuleana values. Um, but you and I have both worked in the Department of Education, Kumu, and we know that not all groups function quite that way. So if you have people coming together who have a small concept of Kuleana, and their small concepts of Kuleana are not harmonizing, what can be done?
It's so interesting you share that. Now, this whole piece of Kuleana comes out because of the teachings that I was a part of up at Kanu'oka'aina in Waimea. And I would hear all these teachers, local, Hawaiian, newcomers, saying the words, get your bag and move your kuleana. Take care of your slippers. That's your kuleana. And I was like, no, grabbing your slippers is not a kuleana. Taking care of your backpack is not a kuleana. That is a lesson. What is the lesson? The lesson is move your slippers away from the door, or else kupuna is going to fall down. Take your bag and make sure you put your bag away, or else if you leave the bag outside, someone's going to fall down. So it's a lesson. The kuleana to the piece is to really help everyone understand that there's a deeper sense to the whole piece. That if you leave your bag there, the kuleana is, kupuna is going to fall. And when the kupuna fall, now it's our kuleana to take care of her or him. And because of the fall, this kupuna could have um, fractured their hip. So now it becomes a true kuleana because this kupuna is injured. Now it is our community, the community's kuleana, to take care of them. And it's very similar to what is going on today. You know, when there is um, someone who has been exposed to the virus, you know, they are quarantined for 14 days. So the kuleana is to now malama them, take care of them, much like at our school. We had a possible case. We didn't have a case, and this possible case actually had two of our teachers quarantined until they were able to get um, the negative test. Well, because of that, one of them were my student. And because of that, we called her and we said, how can we, you know, bring food over? How can we take care of her? We were holding classes, so it would help. It was helping her spiritually. We were speaking with her over the phone. It was helping her, you know, with connecting with people. So when we come together as a group, we, even if we do not hold that same idea, we hold, I want to say, a baseline. And once we understand the baseline of what Koleana is, and this baseline is responsibility. And then we either go up or down on the baseline. And if those that really, really want to understand what Kuleana is, it's deeper than responsibility, the word. It's really about how do we take care of the elders? How do we connect spiritually? How do we take care of the land? Because all of that, the land will then begin to produce. So I like that idea of just having a baseline. And some in our educational system, we have baselines in that kind of concepts. So one of the biggest situation that I was privy and very happy to be a part of is that on our elective team at Konowaina Middle, they are deciding to produce um, a Santa Claus drive, a book drive, health fair, and they were all excited about it. And again, this is not really understanding that this is a possible educational situation that is fitting for culture. And so I said, you know, I enjoy all of what you folks are sharing, but you know, we're in a time where there's cultures that do not believe in certain holidays. And I said, and much to what is happening, the Hawaiian culture is one of them. So we are approaching the makahiki season. And makahiki is all about relating spiritually, all about relating how to give and honor. And so I started to share with them. And what was so positive is that everyone on the panel said, Kumu, we would love to learn. And I was excited to be able to hear that because now I want to make sure that the information that I share is inclusive and not exclusive. And this is what's so, so important.
Well, um, you answered my question before I asked it. I was going to ask if your own understanding of Kuleana has evolved over time, but it sounds like it definitely has and is continuing. That's wonderful. So is there anything else you would like to add as we approach the end of this part of the service?
You know, I think I just really want to say mahalo to you all, New Thought Center, and all our viewers for coming and being a part of this um, virtual journey through Hawaiian history, I believe. And I hope that we are able to take on the kuleana to really look deeper within ourselves. And as the beautiful reading shared in our opening, we have to look within ourselves to really understand what is going on around us. And as I shared earlier, that the slide about kuleana, it has honoring of our kupuna, knowing our spirituality, being connected to people, but most and foremost, understanding who I am. Ua mau ke ea o ka aina I ka pono. How am I the main and center focus to then look upon the higher spirit and making choices as a kanaka or a human to either stay ignorant or to find this path of enlightenment and also connecting with the land. So again, as you have seen, our sun has gone down and the light is about to put us all to sleep. I just want to say mahalo nui. Pasha, thank you very much for making this happen. I was like, oh boy, I like to have that interview kind of relationship for now. But again, find a deeper sense of what Koleana is for you. Find it what it is in our community, and then making those deeper changes so that you are able to journey on the right path. So mahalo nui loa.
Thank you, Kumu. That was wonderful. I'm going to screen share if I can. Um, it's a little statement about ways to financially support New Thought Center. And Kumu will be playing some music while we do it. I understand that some people are not able to share financially now, and that's okay. Just share your blessings, share your positive thoughts. But if you are in a situation to be able to contribute, this handout will show you some ways to do it in the age of
Again, mahalo nui for your sharing to New Thought Center of Hawaii. Ea kahai ina Hawaii, elo kahi ka mana kahi kolu, oia I o ko ulani. E ha'a I ke alo, o ke akua, e aho o ke aloha ka mea I hola ai, o ke aloha ka mea I hola ai, o ke aloha ka mea I hola ai. Mahalo, everyone. We can't hear you, Pasha.
okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so what I would like now is to invite Kumu to share about what he's up to that possibly some of us could participate in. He's got some educational activities for adults on top of what he's doing for the children. Kumu, will you tell us about it, please?
Mahalo. So, because of our distance learning, it's been such a challenge, but it's been a very good challenge. It helped me to really develop classes that are online now, which is really, really special that we're able to still connect. Um, of course, the first group of classes we have Hawaiian language, and I just started them. It was just about, I redid it, not just started. I started the Hawaiian language about 6 months ago, just when we went into this pandemic. But now I refocused. It's about 2 weeks now within the class. I'm actually using Zoom and another app that's called Slack so that I'm able to upload documents and lessons and be able to give everyone the opportunity to expand the whole entire week to learn. That is our Hawaiian language class. Again, we're going to begin that new class in January, so stay tuned. Then Hawaii, we're doing basic hula. We're just shifting that. Again, it's online in Zoom. Um, we're just starting the new class on Monday, which is November 2nd. And this class will begin at 3:45 to 4:45. So 1 hour of just simple basic movement. Of course, it's done on Zoom. So it is a huge challenge to be a part of it. And those are the two classes. Other than that, everything is pretty advanced. But what I would enjoy, if you would like to participate, you could send me an email. The email is kumukeala at nawai'iviola.org. And I believe if you would go on Keala magazine, I believe I'm the 7th page. I do the vehena, which is a chant that I've written. And at the bottom, there's my email as well. You are more than welcome to send me an email of interest. That would probably be the best way for now. And then I would be able to share with you how to get involved with these classes. But I want to say thank you very much, Pasha. Thank you very much for allowing me to share these classes.
Well, I have benefited from one of those classes, the language. And Kumu had said that considering that that class is already launched, people who have had past experience with Olelo Hawaii could probably join in at this point. If you're a complete beginner, then better to wait till January when the new cycle begins. But the timing is just right for the hula. That's like tomorrow. And what we can do to make it easier for you to connect with Kumu if you're moved to do this, in the description that goes with the YouTube, I'll be sure that it has his email address there so that if you want to jump on the opportunity for the hula, you can do it right away. Now I'm going to screen share for the New Thought Center, the coming up list. We have some amazing speakers coming in November. So here goes. Okay, I hope you are seeing this. The woman who is speaking for us next week, November 8th, was honored with the New Thought Walden Award in the first year that it was given, which was 2018. for her work, uh, international and intercultural work. She started the first New Thought ministry in the country of Ukraine. And so it's a very significant honor, and she's going to be speaking of peace. Music will be provided by Uma Ojeda. The following week, the 15th, we have Charlie Thweet. Charlie was a regular visitor to New Thought for many years, but right now he's in Connecticut, and he can't conveniently come to Hawaii, but he can Zoom. So he'll be doing both program and music. The title is The Bows of Our Boats. And both of those two services will be recordings on YouTube, just like this week. The following week, November 22nd, however, will be a Zoom community sharing service. And the topic is gratitude. And that one we will not be recording. There are some people who kind of have concerns about privacy, and so you can feel comfortable to attend that. You'll only be sharing with the other people who are choosing to Zoom that time, that date. That's 10 a.m. Hawaii time, November 22nd. For the weekly classes, I'm confident that Maria will be having yoga tomorrow evening, but Davina Mar made a trip to the mainland, and I'm not certain that she's going to be, when she'll be back. So her classes may be by Zoom only. So please do RSVP before you come for that. Also, you may have noticed the crystal bowl healing meditation is on hold at the moment. So just keep checking our website so that you'll know whether that is in fact happening. The most unusual thing probably on this list is the canine nose work. Now, those of you that have a dog, this could be a really wonderful experience. It's very personalized coaching from Terry Rolfe, and Linda Tellington Jones is going to be one of the students and probably will also help as needed. Many of you are familiar with her work. She's the one who invented the T-Touch. So she'll be coming with her dog. The maximum class size, because of distancing and because it's dogs, is six dogs and the human who comes with them. One dog at a time will be getting this very intimate, personalized coaching, while the others, humans and dogs, are audience, and they'll take turns. I'm sorry, I don't know what she's charging for that, but you can find more information on the New Thought website. And another interesting opportunity here, for the first time in 5 years, the office space next to our main entry is available for rent. This would be a long-term exclusive use of that space. It's been occupied by our good neighbors at Island Spirit since 2015. They bought their own space, so they don't need it anymore. So here's the website address, which is will also be the one to use if you're wanting to make a donation. So thanks again for being with us, and we're going to finish with Hawaii Aloha, so I'll turn it back to Kumu for that.
Again, mahalo. We are in the po ele in the darks. So, oh, that's the wrong one. Sorry. Oh yeah, that's the right one. It's just behind it. So here we go. Hawaii Aloha. We have actually 3 verses, so I just want to share with you. Mahalo again for joining us at New Thought Center. I'm Keala with Tasha and Hawaii e one Aloha e haoli e nā oki o Hawaii e oli e mai nā ahe makani Hawaii mau ke aloha no Hawaii e ha'i mai ko mau ki lani o mau kua aloha e Hawaii nā mea o no kama'o no luna mai e Hawaii aloha e haoli e nā oki o Hawaii e oli mai ngā ahe makani e pamai au ke aloha no Hawaii nā ke ahua e malama mai a ore o mau kua lono aloha nei o mau kawai o lino mau o mau mala kuana nie e haoli nā oli o Hawaii e oli mai nā ahe makani e pamai mau ke aloha no Hawaii mau ke aloha no Hawaii Hawaii aloha mahalo nui loa everyone.